Don't you hate it when you feel like you want to crawl under a rock or hide in a cave until something yucky passes? Right? Me right now? Something changes in your life that you're not prepared for. You don't know how to approach it. Usually that feeling passes pretty quickly, right? I'm feeling calm, you're all feeling good. I felt that for 7 years straight. You see, something about me is I've always marched to the beat of my own drums. I did not follow a conventional path in early adulthood. I carved my own path. From developing a career in modeling for 10 years, I started my own production company. On the side, I reported out on heavy metal concerts, all while working in the cool biotech industry during the day. I thought I made it. I figured out a way to turn all my favorite things into my own career. I know where I'm going next in life. I'm happy. Until 2016, I slipped. I fell. A week later, I went into work and a colleague found me in a random part of the office just sitting there with a vacant expression on my face. I think I was looking for HR, and she knew me well enough to know that something was really wrong. She took me to the ER. I didn't know my name. My MRI and CT scans were normal. I was diagnosed with just a concussion. I was put on bed rest for 3 months. Concussions are temporary, right? Some rest and then you're good. No. I lived the next 7 years in a permanent state of having a severe concussion. I called it my perma-concussion. On the days my symptoms were very bad, my bad brain days. Little did everyone know, my bad brain days were always. I learned quickly that concussions are very complex. I had severe daily migraines, vision problems, couldn't walk right or hold my balance, suffered from what I call reverse vertigo. So anytime I would just kind of look up, I would get the same dizzying effects as if you were up high looking down. Car rides put me back in bed, extreme fatigue, inability to exercise, terrible memory. My speech was a myriad of mumbles and jumbles, and a lot of times I would know what I want to say, and the words couldn't or wouldn't come out. And it all depended on the day or my stress level. Vomiting. I couldn't lay down at a certain angle or else I would pass out. Nothing I could do about that. I'd even have a strange new sensitivity to random sounds. So if I hear someone chewing, like way over there, or maybe the air conditioning is whistling, no matter what, I would hyper-focus on it and it would make me very grouchy. All that along with a myriad of other symptoms that I didn't even realize were a thing until later, and they have a lot of acronyms. We won't do that. I was told to wait it out. So while I waited, I felt I had to do something. I created tools and tricks to help my day-to-day and keep an illusion of being normal intact. So I wore nice makeup, put on an extra bubbly personality. At home, though, I was a shell of the person I was before my fall. I was an alien in my own body. After that first year with my concussion, a traumatic brain injury, hope dissipated. At the time, there were no resources on concussions, particularly for women. The medical field was quite behind. I was really sick, and I began to believe I would never get better. The only thing I thought I could do, the one thing I could control, was to create more ways to hide how sick I was. I needed to keep my job. I wanted to win back the friendships lost because I couldn't be the person I was before I fell. I couldn't communicate my needs, and worse, I didn't know what my needs were. I was scared to admit how bad this was. Hiding my concussion while navigating my new disability at work, in my personal life, only made things worse. I became more sick by spending the insurmountable energy in pretending I was fine. All this just to hide behind my fears and being judged, afraid of losing my job, scared of never finding the right medical help, being perceived as less than, and terrified of admitting to myself that this was my new reality. After a couple more years, I gave up. Neurologist after neurologist, there was no help. I remember I left one doctor appointment in particular in tears. I was berated for doing nothing. I could no longer bear the thought of being in the office, and while I tried to ask for resources like a shade over my desk to offset the migraine-inducing fluorescent lighting, or a space out of the open office environment so my misophonia, the sound thing, wouldn't go into overdrive. So I quit my job that I fought so hard to keep. Surrounded by loved ones, I still felt very isolated, unable to relate, to get a moment of relief, to keep up an illusion of being okay. I finally gave in and conceded to the fact that this was my life now, forever. But giving up is not who I am, and it is certainly not how I was raised. I held on to this one final shred of perspective a dear friend gave me. Don't throw in the towel. Don't throw it in. Refold the towel. So I reapplied to my job. I was graciously given another chance. The power of perspective is mighty. Not long after my return from work, there happened to be a neurodiverse event held by a business resource group. I thought, what is this? Why not go to it? Maybe I can learn something. There was a slide about concussions and brain injury. There were actually resources. For the first time, I felt seen. I realized I wasn't finding community before because my community had changed. This is my new community now, from all places. From my employer? Unexpected. If this business resource group or event didn't exist, I don't know where my future would have gone. A workplace holding space for employees with disabilities truly does foster an environment for inclusivity and empowerment. These things are not just lip service. They're not there just to get the work done. They're not a trend. They're there because they're needed, and all people need community. Without that, we are lost, and we are not our best selves. Every person deserves a chance to be their best and most authentic self. All of you. Through that, I then learned how to ask for help. Knowing what the help needed to be no longer was the problem. I just needed to say, I need help. To say no. To speak my boundaries. I can do this, but with these tools. I can do that, but for this amount of time. I can't do that. I don't feel well today. Let's take a rain check. Who cares what someone thought of me? This was about me to help me survive. Through speaking up, colleagues and friends or family then learned how they too can help. Assumptions don't get anyone anywhere, and trust me, there were a lot of assumptions along the way, such as equating my concussion to just a headache or a stressful day. Hallway whispers of unkind things, of being labeled a ditz, label, lazy, incapable, brain dead. All while inside, I was just struggling to simply function each day. Mostly because of those tricks I created early on. Most people didn't realize I was suffering. Without resources, communication tools, or general awareness, everyone was in the dark. And that doesn't help anyone. Sharing my needs also provided space for others to share theirs, to make changes at work for accessibilities and accommodations, to fit our individual needs so we can successfully provide for ourselves and not have to live in pain, live in fear, mask our truths, become more unwell. I began to feel empowered. That fear I felt for so long funneled into strength. With a business resource group at my side, powerful conversations with company leadership took place. Employees were advocating for themselves. We were being heard, seen, and change was happening. Knowledge on how to request and receive accommodations became a broad initiative, helping colleagues know there is support and tools available for them. Accommodations and assets were being provided to employees, allies, their families. Things began to pivot for me after finding that inclusive work group. Through it, I found a concussion-focused rehabilitation center, and my now friend, Dr. Stephanie Barbakoff, treated me. I can actually ride an elevator, I can have a full day of fun, or run errands, do chores. Maybe I'll have pesky symptomatic issues here and there, and I always will. But I'm armed with the right tools to navigate them. I'm living, I'm thriving. Before my brain injury, I thought I was where I needed to be in life. It is now, afterward, and with a disability, that I am the best version of myself. I'm proud to survive my brain injury. I'm proud of my disability. Thanks to an inclusive workplace, in finding my community, and above all else, thanks to perseverance and leaning on the power of perspective to push through the darkness of brain injury and find a way to live to the best of my ability again. So, do not lose hope through life's challenges. Do not be quiet. Advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves, for yourself, and go forth in this life with the strength to better it. Thank you.